And we're going to speak about that. That's towards the end. The best way to show up and speak confidently is actually to be yourself and speak from the heart. And any time I've tried to overthink a talk, I probably prepare a lot less than most people, and it's not me being lazy, but if I try and over-prepare, I overthink it and balls it up. But if I speak from my heart about something I'm passionate about, I deliver it a lot better. So it's making sure it's your message and not somebody else's. That's arguably the most important bit of communicating, is being yourself. And the perfection thing, and this is all in here, this is all internal. It's your version of perfection, it's your version of what rejection would be. And so to do the work to change that, we have to do it within our own minds. And that's why it is imperative for anyone that wants to grow within any job, any career, any relationship, where somebody wants to hold a workshop, if somebody wants to stand on stage, if somebody wants to get their message across, look at this, look at your own values, your own attitude, your own self-image, your own belief system. And that's a workshop for another day. Like, those are big subjects. Beliefs and values are formed. They're formed through our perceptions, they're formed through our experiences. Our memory holds on to them, but they're there. And the reason they're so important is this last box, is because how we behave, how we show up in the world, how we show up in a relationship, how we show up in work, our habitual behavior, every waking moment of every day is all as a result of how we see the world. It's all as a result of how we see the world. It's all a result of our internal programs. And there's no exception. How we behave is a direct result of what's going on inside our own individual minds. This is why people behave very different. You know, we need that, of course. We need to be individuals, but it's all within. It's all internal. So if you want to change your results in any aspect of your life, whether it's standing on stage, whether it's being a parent, whether it's being a partner, whether it's being a teacher, whether it's being a captain within a sports team, whether it's running a business, to change, to upgrade your results, you need to change your habits, you need to change your habitual behavior. We know that nothing changes if nothing changes. Then we need to deconstruct that and realize that our behavior in this moment in time is a direct result of our experiences in life, how we perceive those experiences to be positive or negative, what we believe is real, and the perception of we think who we are, our self-image, and also of what we think the world is about. We're going to have little interactive things today. So because you have hopefully maybe had a bit of an idea of what's holding you back in terms of your communication, we're going to have a little exercise soon and we're going to do this throughout the day. We're going to ask people just to go and sit at different tables. But what I want you to do is to think about the words you use, okay? So we spoke about thoughts. We spoke about the fact that thoughts are the language of the mind, but what about the language that you actually use? It is very powerful. Your thoughts and your words almost have this frequency or a vibration, like at an energy level. So, you know, and big companies get this right all the time when they're marketing. They will say things like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This product will change your life. If you sign up to my course, this will transform who you are. All the keywords. Yet when we're asking people, who are you? They'll say, oh, I'm average Joe here. What do you sell? I could just do a wee bit of marketing. It's just all right. We're very humble, but there's a massive difference in that. And this is who I am. I'm an incredible human being. I have an amazing product. I would love to help you because I'm compassionate. I want to help you change. And it's just looking at the words. So let's look at the basics of positive and negative. If I was to ask you after today, how did you find this experience? Positive could be, it was okay. It was okay. That has a vibration of, it was all right. Doesn't really excite you. It's just average. It could be, you could say, yeah, it was good. It was a good event. It was excellent. It was transformative. So that's explaining an event in a positive way. using a couple of different words, but each of them has a massive vibrational frequency of what you say, but also importantly, how the person feels when you tell them that. That's the key of communication. How are you making that other person feel? We're going to talk about the importance of rapport as we go along, but in order to connect and communicate with somebody at a deeper level, you need them to feel a certain way. People that are in the sales know this. People buy on emotion. But people also enter relationships on emotion, whether it's a physical relationship, whether it's a working relationship, whether you're speaking with people in a room and trying to connect and develop relationships with all those people. You need to make people feel a certain way. So if you said to me, Kieran, what do you think of my new business idea? And I said, that's okay. You would feel rejected. You would maybe feel a wee bit discouraged. If I said it's good, you might get that wee affirmation of, right, okay, but there's room for improvement. But if I said to you, gee, that is one of the best things I've ever seen, that's so innovative, that's incredible, you need to do something with this, this could change somebody's life. That's going to get you excited about your business idea, that you want to go and encourage and develop it. I am essentially telling you a positive remark with all those things, but how I say it and the words I'm saying have a drastic difference in how it's making you feel. Now, you imagine kids, for example. If my son says to me, Daddy, did you watch me play? How did I do? Now, can you imagine the effect those words have on a kid? Are you okay? You were good? Or do you tell your son or your daughter, you played incredible, man of the match, you're a superstar, you're going to play for Liverpool one day? There's a huge difference in how you're making that person feel. There's a huge difference in how you are having an impact on their physiology. Now, we're going to, as I said at the start, this is about communicating within to develop relationships, to communicate, to connect at a deeper level. How are you to connect with somebody at a deeper level is make them feel so good that they want to continue that connection. People will make their mind up on you almost immediately. They will decide if they want to continue exploring a connection or if they want to cut it. That happens all the time. You have already made unconscious decisions in this room. I want to speak more to this person at lunchtime. I maybe want to avoid this person at lunchtime. I want to try and get this person's attention. You will already have done that. You will already have carried out that process. And there's no right or wrong. Again, it's a survival technique. We're also looking at who can help us, who can we help. But if you are looking to explore a certain connection today, if you want to make a lasting impact on somebody, you need to be very clear that it's not about you. Communicating or connection is not about you. It's actually selfless. It's about the other person. How are you communicating to them? How are they receiving your information? How are you making them feel? And so what we're going to do is a little icebreaker. You're going to all go to different tables, and all I want you to do is introduce yourself to somebody that you don't know. Just say, this is my name, this is what I do, and this is why I'm here, or what I would like to get out of today. All I want you to do during that exercise, because we're going to progress this throughout the day, we're going to add little facets to this, all I want you to be aware of at this stage is of the language that you're using. I just want you to think, so take about a minute before we do this. You're just going to say your name, who you are, what you do, and maybe what you would like to get out of today or what your goals are going forward. But I want you to be conscious of the words that you're using. I want you to start being aware of that vibrational frequency that exists within the words that you're using. Are you going to say, my name's Kieran, I have natural resilience, I'm really passionate about communication because I really believe in connecting at a deeper level. I love meeting people and I've loved to meet you. I would love to hear more about you. Tell me your story. Or are you just going to say, how are you? Oh, wee bit embarrassing doing this. Because you're making that person feel embarrassed too. They're feeling your angst, so what do? They get anxious as well. They go like this too. So I just want you to be consciously aware of the words you're using. That's it, and then we'll progress this. So take 30 seconds now just to gather yourself in terms of what you're going to say. Hopefully you all remember your first name, what you do. But just think, even at this stage, even if you can add in 2 to 3 words within your vocabulary that will make that person feel better. You just want to be aware of the energy that you're putting out, the frequency within your communication, even if it's 2 or 3 words within that 1 minute that you can upgrade your communication. So we'll probably do this.
Give us an example. What do you mean 2 or 3 words? Like,
So do you remember I said I can say okay, good, excellent?
oh, yeah, okay.
So like that. So you could say, I do a wee bit of makeup. Or you could say, I'm an award-winning makeup artist. Do you know what I mean? It's how you say things. So if you say to me, I do a wee bit of makeup, that bores the life out of me. But if you were to say, I'm an award-winning makeup artist, I've transformed hundreds, if not thousands of women's lives to make them more confident, I'm hooked because I'm going, wow. Do you know, I want to know more. So
I
straight.
actually feel better that you just said that.
But that's the power of words. That's the power of words. Now, those words start within. We tell ourselves, oh, I'm not good enough. Or do we tell ourselves, I can do this? In actual fact, today, I'm going to use today as an opportunity because going forward, I want to improve how I show up in the world. Going forward, I would like to express my values, my needs, my ambitions. I would like to express those a wee bit more. I would like to tell my message. And today, I'm going to use it to learn a bit of information so that tomorrow, I can practice this with my son, with my wife, with my work colleagues, whatever it may be. So go to a table and speak with somebody that you don't know and just introduce yourself, but have a conscious awareness of the words that you use. As if it was very easy to people. Couldn't shut you up. Everyone was talking. So who spoke to somebody they've never met before? Great. And how was it? How did you find it? Easy. And so what words were you using?
It was interesting because although I've never met them before, we've a lot of similarities.
Uh-huh.
So the conversation flowed very well, and we were able to be quite passionate about both environments and where we came from. We were able to contextualise some of the ways that we behave based on our backgrounds and how that environment has made us the product of that. I
Yeah.
guess.
And what's really fascinating there is that you've found what similarities you have.
Yeah.
And we always try and find our common ground. I had a lovely conversation with Adriana after about the words. She says a wee bit confused there. What did you mean? And I said, well, she says, it's not about achievement for me. I love philosophy and I love reading, and that's exactly it. So when I hear somebody says to me, I love reading, as opposed to I like reading or reading's okay, straight away I know that person is passionate about reading. Or if they say to me, I love philosophy and I want to know more, oh, tell me more. Like, what ideas have you came across? What has made you within your studies ask yourself the big questions that we shy away from? But there's a huge difference, and that was a great example. There is a monumental difference between I like you and I love you, or I like this and I love this. 2 words beginning with L, 4 letters, and the difference of how that lands is night and day. It is night and day. If you're in a relationship of any kind and you are told, I like you and I love you, it is a massive difference in how you feel. Likewise, if you're telling that to a person, it's a massive difference. If you are describing in an interview or meeting somebody the first time that you love something, it's displaying that you're passionate about something. And automatically that person will want to know more. Does that make sense around words? Did anyone try maybe a word for the first time? Did anyone consciously go in and say, I'm going to use this word to describe myself?
Yeah, I did.
What did you use?
See, even just moving over here, I was so calm talking. I was so scared to even introduce myself. I forgot to tell Karen my name. I was going to say I'm a mother and I'm a trainee counsellor, and I only started 2 weeks ago. But I said I'm an amazing mother, and I'm a trainee counsellor, and then I went on to say, but I want to specialise, and I'm passionate about it. I want to inspire. But even saying that was so hard. I got so anxious.
Who were you talking with?
Kira.
Well, how did you feel when she was saying words like specialise, amazing?
It's funny. isn't it funny how I wasn't aware that you were anxious? I was just listening to your words and your message.
Yeah.
So we talked about the feeling, but what you're saying is
Mm.
two different things.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know she was really nervous and anxious.
But I ended up telling her, I'm like, I'm really nervous.
Yeah.
But see, when
She
I
did
moved
come
over
across.
here, like I was able to do it then calmly,
Yeah.
differently. And Kira had said, well, the more you introduce yourself and the more you are becoming that person as you want to become, it gets easier.
Yeah. And that, like, you can bypass the fear and the anxiety. Like, you can't reside there your whole life. Even if you're tricking yourself initially. Like, for those 90 days, I would say probably up until the end, I didn't believe myself. I'm still saying I can't, I won't, I shouldn't. It's repetition. It's you're rewriting the programs.
Sitting over at that table, I wouldn't even have spoken in this room. But see, because that happened there, it has actually made me more confident because I've grown a wee bit there. I've got past that.
Fantastic.
So
That's us. Well done. And listen, and this is the beauty of events like this. It's not about me. It's the fact that you're in a room with like-minded people where the conversations that you want to have are not only accepted but encouraged. That's the big thing, and that's what we're going to talk about now. That communicating with yourself first and foremost. But if you want to develop your communication skills with somebody, you need to be a good listener. It is a skill that we're slowly losing. We now enter a conversation to speak as opposed to listen. We disrupt people, we're interrupting them. While they're even speaking, we're thinking what we're going to say next. You know, we're thinking, oh, I've done that too. What about this? I'm the same, but listening to somebody, truly listening to them. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and they're looking you in the eyes, so open to what you have to say?
There now.
There you go. Those conversations are much deeper and more fuller. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and they're scrolling on their phone while you're trying to say something important?
The kids.
Yeah. And from a physiology point of view, you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you don't feel valued. And so what do you do in a relationship, for example, if that's a continuous thing? I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to say what I need to say. And then the relationship lengthens and lengthens and lengthens to the point where both people just turn their back. And this is any relationship, you know, friendships even, whatever it may be. When we don't feel listened to, we then try and find that validation elsewhere. If you can listen to somebody, truly listen to them, without interrupting them, even if you don't agree with the message. We had a great chat about Jordan Peterson. There's some of his stuff, I'm going to see him, I think a lot of his stuff is fantastic. I remember watching a thing years ago and he said that rich people send their kids to universities to do liberal arts, not because they're ever going to have a career in liberal arts, but because they know it'll improve their communication skills so much. And with that newfound literacy and articulation, they will do well in any job that they go to. And I remember thinking, wow, that's powerful. That is powerful. And then I got more into him, but there is some stuff I don't agree with him on. But I admire his ability to debate and articulate his emotional attachment to things. So you don't need to agree with what somebody's saying. You can have a conversation with somebody and you may not agree with it because it doesn't align with your values or your perception. But listen anyway. You're going to learn so much from that other person's culture, how they see the world, how they experience the world. And we don't like doing that because, again, it's not familiar. It's not familiar. There's no or little common ground. And because it's different and we don't know it, it makes us feel a different way. It maybe makes us feel, I haven't had as much travel as this person, I'm not as cultured. It doesn't interest me. So listening to somebody, even when you don't agree with what they're saying, is a skill in itself. But if you truly listen to somebody, they will tell you everything that you want to know. If you listen to somebody long enough, they will reveal themselves to you. They will literally tell you their story through verbal and non-verbal communication. All you have to do is look and listen. You can choose, in a police interview, people can choose to remain silent. They can choose to not comment, but they will give loads of clues away through their body language, through their eyes, through their facial expressions. So they can sit and say nothing, but you will pick up on so many different things, from looking down to fidgeting, to their eye contact, to where their eyes are going, all these different things. But we just need to sit and look and listen. It is a powerful skill. Who has an experience of listening to somebody before with the thought, me staying silent has resolved a conflict of any way, shape or form? Yourself? Do you want to give an example, or what are you thinking of?
Well, I'd say there was one time I was speaking to my cousin, and he was definitely going through like a hard period. And I think I think his brother was getting mixed in some bad kind of scenarios, and I didn't really know how to, I guess, give advice to that point. So I guess when I was kind of giving him a bit of, I guess, just like advice in general for other things, and he's kind of hit me with a kind of a hard-hitting statement where his brother, I think, nearly kind of overdosed and stuff, and he didn't really know how to deal with it, and he had been in a similar position in the past. So I kind of just stayed silent, and then, well, Proud actually know this, sorry, he ended up telling me that, and I think in staying silent, that's where I kind of got information that I didn't really know how I was going to gather otherwise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. And again, that's very common. That's something that I would have, when I started coaching, I tried to solve people's problems. I was like, oh, you should do this. I really wanted to help them. You should do A, B, and C. This has worked for me. But what I've realized is, through a bit of experience, is when somebody is saying, I'm going through this, let them speak. You know, they'll either get the answer themselves or say something like, tell me more. You know, just provide them with that space to continue to share. Maybe that's all they need. Tell me more. You know, and it's just giving somebody unconscious permission to speak to you, to connect to you, and feeling listened to. It's such an important trait. We spoke about connection. If somebody is listening to you, you feel valued. So let's look at me, for example. If I am passionate about this information and I'm trying to teach you it because I think and I believe that it can change people's lives, and you were still speaking the way you were 10 minutes ago where people were scrolling on their phones, I would be thinking, oh God, I'm not doing this again. But the fact that people's listening makes me feel valued, so I want to continue. But that's the same in any relationship. That's the same in any companionship, any friendship, mother and son, peer-to-peer, friends, husband and wife, husband to husband, whatever it may be. If you feel listened to, you will want to come back and engage more and more and more. And it's the same with sales. Best sales training I ever went to, I was like, what do you say? How do you say it? You just listen. You just listen, because that person, if you provide them with the space, they will tell you exactly what they want. They will tell you exactly what their problem is. And the best salesperson is easy to them because they listen. If that's the number one thing that you take from today, is just to listen more within any relationship, and you will have a better understanding of that person's internal programs, of how they perceive the world. Now, the reason we want to do that, the reason we want to listen, is because we want to unconsciously see their map of the world. We want to unconsciously see how they view the world. It's about their version of the world. It's not about us. It's not about our version. We just be aware of ours, but we need to see that other person's, or at least have an idea of what it looks like. We want to build rapport. Within any relationship, with any companionship, you need to have rapport. Rapport is just your ability to connect. That's it. That is it. It's just your ability to connect, and you do that through communication, verbal and non-verbal. I mean, there's very simple things. You'll see people coming on the stage, and what they'll do is they'll stand and they'll put their hands up like that and say, hello, my name's Kieran May. And you see them just even very briefly going like this. Again, that's going back to ancient techniques of tribal warriors maybe would have met each other and I don't have a weapon. I pose no threat to you. And we still recognize that in the modern world. Hello, how are you? I mean, I'm not a threat to you. If I was to come and stand like this and stare at you, you're going to think, He's an arsehole. Who does he think he is standing up there? Do you know what I mean? So we can use our body language to reflect what we have to say. Has anyone watched the TEDx talk about the power pose? Phenomenal. What I know, I did a talk yesterday. Somebody was asking me over there, do you get nervous doing talks? Yeah, I do. I really do. But I've just got better at zooming out and looking at the processes of how my mind is working. Yesterday at a talk, I got very nervous. And how I dealt with it was I went a wee walk and I drank water and kind of took myself off a wee bit. I just needed a wee bit of movement, a wee bit of space to zoom out and look at my internal programs. We will get nerves about these things, but it's whether you can control them or they control you. But back to rapport, why is it so important? We need to be flexible in our approach to building rapport with people. We need to connect at their level. It's not about us, it's about connecting at their level. It's understanding their view of the world. If you're going to solve anyone's problem, you need to see and feel what it is. If you're going to develop a friendship, you need to see and feel them at their level. But because we're so caught up in our own world, we don't really do that enough. We don't really look at where people are coming from. We don't really take the time to sit and say, tell me more. Tell me more about your version of the world. But if you can't do that, you're going to develop friendships that are unbreakable. You're going to develop bonds that can't be broke, even if people decide to move to the other side of the world. But again, it's so important if it's coach to client, if it's salesperson to client, if it is trying to sell somebody your idea, if it's delivering a workshop within work, you need to develop rapport. It is the fundamental ingredient to building a relationship. Rapport. If you can speak to people at their level, the best speakers will go into a room of highly successful business people. They'll also go into a school. They'll connect with the hustle and bustle, go of the corporate world, and they'll also connect with school children because they're so flexible in their rapport. They will go to people's levels, connect with them there, and then bring them on a journey. Then they can bring them up, they can bring them down. Great guy, a couple of phenomenal therapists throughout the world, and there was one in particular, and we're going to speak about how we start to build rapport. He worked with a lot of people with real debilitating mental health issues. And he was the person that if a doctor couldn't cure you, if therapists couldn't cure you, the last thing was send them to him. And people used to come in and even lie on the settee and I have no interest. No one can fix me. Life's terrible. And what he used to do, he used to lie on the other settee and go, you're right. You're right. It's crap, isn't it? Then the patient used to go, maybe I'm not depressed, maybe he is. But what he did, he was a genius. He was connecting with that person on that level. Yeah, I'm apathetic too. Maybe you're right. And then the guy maybe went on, but it's not me, the system's screwed. They're trying to fix everything with medication. And he would have went, you're absolutely right. The system's completely against us. So he went from apathy to anger. He's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. And then the person maybe would have said, the odds are against me. He's like, right. And then he would have went, you're absolutely right. I don't get paid enough money. So he now went to victimhood. And now there was a bit of momentum. And he maybe would have asked, what do we do about this? We'll have to do something. You're exactly right. Let's do something. Let's work together. And he was a genius at building rapport because he met people at their level. He maybe did it through unconventional means, but he met people at their level and then brought them up and brought them up. Marcus Aurelius said this, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Something I see very, very often in the corporate world or the sporting world is we torture ourselves where we expect everyone to have the same outlook on life as us. We expect everyone to be as driven. And if they're not, they're lazy. We expect everyone to be as ambitious, and if they're not, they've no drive. Expect everyone to be open to healing modalities. If they're not, they're so closed off. We have this thing, it's all about us. But it's absolutely got nothing to do with us. It's connecting with people at their level. It's being flexible in your approach. That is hard to do. That takes conscious practice. That takes learning. That has to become a lifestyle. That's solely to do with self-awareness. Every slide will go back to that first slide. It'll go back to that first Hermetic principle of all is mind. This is all internal. This is all our own expectations. This is our own beliefs. This is our own values. But just because they're ours doesn't mean they're this person's and this person's and this person's. This is the importance of self-awareness when we communicate. We're communicating to people that we may know absolutely nothing about, and we throw our shit onto them and expect it to stick.